Hey YouTube, it is fall, although you will be seeing this after Christmas, and it's time to do the farm to table thing that we've been doing for about 20 years. We have always raised our own pork, and I can never find anyone who makes breakfast sausage the way I want it, so I finally just gave up and decided to just make my own every time we raise pigs. We just had our pigs butchered, and what I do with the butcher that we've used for years and years, I just have them do all the cut and wrap. And I do, as you know, all my bacon and ham, which we have videos in the playlist for that stuff already. I don't think I have bacon up yet, but I will. I have them just grind the fresh pork and call me when it's freshly ground and I'll go get it. So I'll show you the bag that I get. So we're gonna be using some of the ingredients I have here, and I'll show you, I'll put the recipe in the link below of what I actually do with my sausage. This is what I get from the butcher. She just calls me when it's ground, and I go and pick up a big bag of ground pork. And this year I am actually not going to make this all into sausage because we still have quite a bit left from last year. So I'm gonna do some. I'm just gonna show you how I do this and how I make our patties. We don't do links, I have the tools, but I find it super time consuming and I'm not doing it. So I make this into ground sausage patty by the 1 pound pack. So you are gonna have to weigh this into kind of workable amounts. So I usually work with about a 4 pound amount and then put my spices in. And you can play with this and make whatever recipe you like. And what I have found as far as what we really like in our sausage, it's really basic. I don't like a bunch of funny flavors in my sausage, caraway or fennel or whatever is in there, that there's always that taste that's like, what is that? Leave it out. So I finally just started doing it myself. Mine is really just salt, pepper, garlic, onion, sage from the garden, which I will grind up really fine and get in there, and then a tiny bit of ground red pepper. And you can play with this as much as you want. I don't like hot spicy, but I do want it to taste, you know, like sausage. So we're gonna do that, and I do put in like a teaspoon per 4 pounds. Not hardly, really. You don't even need sugar, because why would I? It doesn't make any difference. But just it's sort of just a token bit. But also, if you're watching your sugar, you can leave it out. So this way you know where all your food really came from. This came from right out back in our backyard. I also have my kitchen scale here, which is just basically just analog kitchen scale. I don't do very much digital stuff. I prefer the old style. I do have a digital scale, it just doesn't weigh up enough weight. And I'm just gonna put a little this, and I'll just do it in probably 1 pound or 2 pound. Set that to 0 so you're not weighing the bowl, you know, with each bit of meat. We'll get the meat open, unpackaged here out of this giant bag. And then while I'm doing this, I'll show you, if you're wondering what 2 pigs butchered, how much meat is that? I will show you right here. This is what we got off of 2 pigs. One weighed 206 pounds, one weighed about 151. They weren't very big, and they were sort of runts, and they went way too far into the fall, and we just finally were done waiting for them to be done. So they did not get huge. And like I said, they just cut and wrap it, and they don't do any of our smoking, but we got 5 12 by 12 cube boxes of pork, and you can see that that is all you're gonna get in a car. If you have a regular car with a trunk and fold down seats, you're not gonna get more than 2 pigs in that car. Just for homesteady reference. If you have an SUV or a pickup, you can go all in. You can go whole hog. Okay, so we're gonna start measuring and weighing some of this, and I'll just kind of show you what I do, but it's really basic. This is the only time I do bother with gloves, because you're dealing with raw meat. And and you can do this with your hands if you want to mix it by hand, but I'm actually dealing with a bit of a wrist injury right now. So I'll just take it and put it on the scale. That's almost a pound right there. Wow, I'm good at guessing. That was exactly a pound. And yeah, my left wrist is kind of messed up, so I can't do much by hand right now. I'm going easy on myself. So let's see if this will hold 2 pounds in this container. And then I will post the recipe for the mix that I use. I'll put it in the description down below. But what I mix, the recipe I mix up is for every 4 pounds of ground meat. There's exactly 2 pounds. So that's gonna go in the mixer. And then we'll put put a second round in there, and then I'll get the herbs and salt and pepper in there. But I'm not gonna do this whole thing into sausage because we have a lot of sausage left. So I'm gonna probably just do a couple of rounds of sausage and get it wrapped and show you how we do it. And then the rest of this is gonna get packaged into probably 2-pound packages, just as ground sausage. And then that I will use to put in my chili later in the year and my salami. So we can put beef and pork together in the salami and it won't be spiced. So having some plain ground pork around is actually a really good idea. You can use it for soups and all kinds of things. So I'm gonna finish weighing this and we'll get to the spices. Some of the other tools you're gonna need besides the kitchen scale and the mixer, because of the way that I package this up, I will wrap it in 1-pound packs and saran wrap that. And then you are going to you're going to need a vacuum sealer. And this is the bags that you can buy, and you cut it into lengths and run it through a little vacuum sealer like this, which we'll get to a little bit later in the video. I just got that on Amazon. I'll post it in the links down below if you want to look at it. But let's get the spices in here. And the thing you want to work kind of fast when you're doing this because you don't want this meat to warm up, especially while you're mixing it, because you'll end up with sort of a pasty blend. You want the fat to stay cold while it's mixing because you don't want it to start, I can't describe what, but you don't want it to get too warm. I'm not a meat expert. I mean, this is just what I do every year. But and then what's fun to do with this, if you get your pork like this, play with it a little bit. Like make a little mix, fry some up, and taste it. And then you can, before you make 60 pounds of sausage and find out, oh, too much sage, make a little batch and fry it and try it. And then you can play with your seasoning. And that's how I got this recipe to be like, that is the breakfast the biscuits and gravy. Hello, this is the sausage we use. So for every 4 pounds of sausage, we're going to add 4 teaspoons of sage, ground down really fine. We're gonna do a tablespoon each of salt and pepper. We've got a teaspoon of brown sugar. And you can leave the sugar out, it just, I don't know, just gives a little nice touch. A teaspoon each of garlic and onion powder. And then because we don't like things very hot, this is like a scant half a teaspoon of some ground red pepper, cayenne. Not chili powder, cayenne powder. And we're gonna run that just on low until it's blended. And again, you don't wanna beat this too long, you just want it to stop as soon as it's well mixed. And that is about as mixed as I will get it. And we're gonna go ahead and take that off the mixer and divide it up into 1-pound packs and get it packaged up and in the freezer. All right, and what I do now that we've got all the spices in there is just measure out and kind of watch your blend. And if you need to, blend it a little bit more, you can, but I just put in, measure 1 pound, again, in that same little container. It doesn't have to be like so spot on, but I like it to be about 1 pound. And then I'll just take that and put it I just shape it into something that can be kind of stackable, because this is gonna go in the freezer and there's going to be oftentimes a lot of these. Like one year I did 60 pounds of sausage. So you wanna have room to store them handily in the freezer. And I'll have a piece of saran wrap ready and just kind of form it like that. And you wanna, while you're working with this, I try to actually I just have this out right now because I just started on this, but try to keep this, if you have room, keep this giant bin of ground meat in the fridge while you're working with it, even just to keep it cold enough while you're working. And I just do a quick wrap like that, flip it over, and make one of these little bags with your vacuum sealer bag. Put that in there. This is pretty big, but it's just what I have. And we'll try and do this with my little tiny space in this kitchen. There's a lot going on behind us that I'm not showing you, so we're gonna work with the little space. And seal that down. And some of these have an option, moist or dry. We're gonna click dry because this isn't a wet pack. And you wait for that light to go out that says that it's sealed. And then when that light just went out, and then you can take this off, release that, and there you have a nice pack of 1 pound of breakfast sausage ready to go in the freezer for next year. And I'll take a Sharpie and just write the year on it. And if you need to know that it's sausage, you can write that. I know it's sausage, so I'll just write this year, the date on it. And then that is all I do. And we continue with the rest of the pork. So that's all there is to it. If you aren't sure about the sausage that you get from your butcher, try making it yourself. It's not hard. It'll take a little bit of time to get this measured out and mixed up and put it in the freezer, but it's worth it. So far, we have never found a butcher that did a sausage mix that we like as much as this. So if you're looking for a basic sausage mix to start with, or to start as a base and add on from there, check the description and you can grab my recipe and see how it turns out for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.